easy ayah, huh? Khalid sahab ko batana padega. Who's going to translate this? Now it is very easy. One of our online students is going to do it. People are raising hands, which is very good. Allah Dino Sahab, go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum, ji. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Hudan wa rahmatan lil muhsinin. A guidance and mercy for those who are good in their steadfast. Allazina yuqimuna as-salat, who are steadfast in salat, wa yutuna az-zakat, and who pay zakat, wa hum bil akhirati yuqinun, and have faith in their hereafter akhirah.
Mashallah, excellent translation. But I will not give you full marks for this because the translation is right there on the screen. So if it was not there, then it's 100 out of 100 of Allah Din Azhar. Now it is 50 out of 100. The next time we will remove the translation in the recap so that we know how you are doing the translation. But mashallah, Allah Din Azhar, I know he's been doing the translation for many of our classes. So he's very good at it. Mashallah, may Allah accept. Now, I'll do a recap of the last class, just a little bit of recap, and then we move on to today's class. And the recap is that this is the 4th ayah. The first ayah, Allah mentions, in the ayah before this, Allah mentions the Quran, that this is the book, which is a book of wisdom. We talked about the book of wisdom 2 weeks ago. Then Allah talks more about this book. And in these ayah that we did last week, Allah says that this book is Hudam. This book is a guidance and mercy for those who do good deeds. So, if you look at this ayah that we have on the screen, there is a question mark. Hudam wa rahmatil lil muhsinin. It is a guidance and mercy for those who do good deeds. So, what are we talking about? We are talking about the Quran. So, what is missing in this ayah is the word Quran because it has come in the ayah before. And then Allah says that it is guidance for those who do good. And who are those who do good is what is mentioned in the next ayah. And there are 3 things. There are 3 good deeds that Allah mentions. That these are the muhsinin. 1, those who establish the prayers. Alladina yuqimuna as-salat. That they establish the prayer. Wa yutunu zakat. They pay their zakat. And the 3rd thing, wa bil akhirati. They have strong faith in the hereafter. So these are the 3 deeds that Allah talks about, that these are the deeds that if a person will do, then he is going to find this wisdom, the Quran. Then this Quran is going to be a Hidayah, a source of Hidayah for him and a source of mercy for him. So this was a short recap of the last class. We talked at length about the Salat and the importance of Salat. It is the pillar of Islam. If you take Salat away from Islam, then you've actually shaken the foundation of Islam. So that is why those people who, and there have been some people like that, who said that, you don't have to pray at 5 times. You should just be good Muslims. So saying this word, even if you're saying it very, in a very casual way, basically what you've done is you've broken the pillar of Islam. So there's nothing more important in Islam than the Salah. You cannot have Islam without this Salah. So establishing the prayers is the most important pillar of Islam. And the importance can be ascertained by the fact that Allah has mentioned this Salah in the Quran 700 times. Allahu Akbar. In total, there are about 84,000, 85,000 words in the Quran. Out of those 85,000 words, 700 of them are Salat. So from here we understand the importance of Salat. Another way of understanding the importance of Salat The Prophet ﷺ said that the first question that you will be asked on the Day of Judgment is going to be the question about Salah. Another example of how important this Salah is, the Prophet ﷺ said that the difference between a mu'min and a kafir is Salah. That is why not Imam Abu Hanifa, but there have been other mashayikh. According to Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, if there is a Muslim who does not pray Salah regularly for many days, he goes outside the fold of Islam. He has become a kafir. According to Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, his opinion is that no, he does not go out of the fold of Islam, but he's done something which takes him away from Islam. So again, it is a very severely serious thing. One more hadith to highlight the importance of Salah. The Prophet ﷺ said that one further namaz, one further Salah that you miss, there is nothing under the skies that couldn't atone, that can compensate for that missed Salah. So you can understand the importance of Salah. And the fara'is have a lot of importance, but even the nawafil and the sunnahs that the Prophet ﷺ has taught us, there are numerous fazail of those nawafil and of those sunnah prayers. For example, the Prophet ﷺ said that if a person prays 4 rakahs sunnahs before the fard of Zuhr and 4 rakahs after the fard of Zuhr, all of his sins are forgiven. Then there's a sunnah salat in the morning called Ishraq. The Prophet ﷺ said somebody who prays 2 rakahs Ishraq is like the one who has performed Umrah. Allahu Akbar. So these nawafil, they have a lot of weight. There is a nawafil prayer called Awwabin. And the Prophet ﷺ said that the one who prays Awwabin, Awwabin is a nafil prayer, is 6 rakahs right after the first of Maghrib. The Prophet ﷺ said the one who prays 6 rakahs after Maghrib, his sins for the last 12 years are forgiven. Allahu Akbar. 12 years of sins are forgiven for praying these 6 rakahs. So these nafil prayers have so much weight. Just imagine how much weight the farz of salat will have in the eyes of Allah. So that is why salat is the cornerstone of Islam. And these are the 3 things that Allah has mentioned. That these 3 amal, if somebody does, he is among the muhsineen. He is the one who's going to gain guidance from the Quran. So this is a little bit of recap of the last ayah. Now we move on to today's session. Alhamdulillah wa kafa. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa, amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ulaika ala hudan min rabbihim wa ulaika humul muflihun. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم أولئك على هدى من ربهم. These are the ones who are on guidance given by their Lord. وَأُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And these are the ones who are successful. So again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these 3 deeds that we just mentioned in the last class and we recapped today, salat, giving zakat, and having faith in the hereafter. If somebody does this, Allah says, أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَىٰ هُدًى مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ. These are the people who are on the right guidance from their Lord. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And these are the ones who are successful. Now, success has different meanings for all of us. For a person who's playing sports, success is winning tournaments. For a person giving exams, studying, success is scoring an A on the exam. For a businessman, success is gaining more profits. And there's a success that Allah mentions here. The real success. And the real success is the success of the Akhirah. And it is not something that your heart should only accept, it is something that mind should also accept. That here we are here for 70 years, maybe 80 years. We'll be very, very lucky if we touch 90, right? Nobody goes beyond this. So this is 70, 80, 90 years. And once we die, then the life starts again. And how many years is that life? Billions and billions of years. So if you spend this life, maybe even in misery, even if this life was difficult, but this difficult life ensures that you have a very fruitful, very successful life in the hereafter, then this life is also successful. So the definition of success is different for each one of us. But for the mu'min, a real definition of success is that he becomes successful in the Akhirah. But let me tell you this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not only want us to be successful in the Akhirah, He wants us to be successful in this world as well. That is why He has taught us this dua. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. Allah, give me the good of this world and the good of Akhirah. And also Allah says in the Quran, مَنْ عَمِلَ صَالِحًا, the one who does good deed, مِنْ ذَكَرٍ أَوْ أُنْثَى, whether he is a man or a woman, فَلَنُحْيِيَنَّهُ حَيَاةً طَيِّبَةً, we'll give him a very good life. So that means this success that Allah is talking about here, we want to accept that this is the success of the Akhirah. No, not only the success of Akhirah. This is the success of both the world and the Akhirah. So if you are somebody who prays, gives zakat, and who has full faith in the Akhirah, then your dunya also becomes successful and your Akhirah also becomes successful. Now Allah does not only talk about success in this ayah. There's many other ayahs that Allah has talked about success, and we've mentioned this on the screen. And one of them is قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. Allah says successful is the one who purifies his nafs. وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ, who does the zikr of Allah. فَصَلَّى, and does salat. So one of the ayahs that Allah mentions, in fact there are two ayahs in the Quran that Allah mentions that Allah says that the success depends on how much you remember Allah. So this is one of them. And the second one is also on your screen. فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. That you remember Allah abundantly so that you can be successful. So the success of this world and the success of Akhirah depends on the remembrance of Allah. Now, there's some ayahs of the Quran. There is also some ahadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned how important this zikr is, this remembrance of Allah. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that remembrance of Allah is a shifa for your heart. It is a cure for the disease of the heart. And what is the disease of the heart? The disease of the heart is to have a love for those other than Allah. So once somebody does the zikr of Allah, his heart is cured. There's another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and this hadith makes me it makes me think about this zikr. And how strongly Allah has mentioned that we should do, or the Messenger ﷺ has mentioned that we should do the zikr of Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ said that the one who does zikr of Allah is like the one who is alive. And the one who does not do the zikr of Allah is like the one who is dead. So the one who does not do the zikr of Allah is like the one who is dead. Allah Akbar. Just look at the importance of zikr. The Mashaykh have said that obviously that the one who does not do the zikr of Allah, obviously he's not dead because he is on the ground lying dead. Here, by dead, what the Messenger ﷺ means is that he's spiritually dead. You don't do the zikr of Allah, and spiritually you don't have any life. And when you're spiritually dead, you are ready to commit any sort of sin. So it is the zikr that leads you to living, leads you to have a life, a spiritual life. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions that it is the zikr of Allah that leads to true success in this world as well. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, Allah bi zikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. That surely in the remembrance lies the contentment of the heart. And it is this content, the one who has the most contented heart is the one who spent the most successful life. And this contentment of the heart is only and only for the one who does the zikr of Allah. That is why the Mashaykh, they would make sure that they do not miss the zikr of Allah even once in their lifetimes. Sometimes we think that, okay, salat is important and fasting is important and all of these things are important. Zikr, we say, okay, fine, it is nafal. So maybe if we do it, it's fine, it's good, it's very nice. If you don't do it, that's okay also. The Mashayikh, they made sure that they never ever missed their daily routine of zikr. Why? Because it is leading you to live to a spiritual life. There's a Shaykh by the name of Maulana Hussain Ali Ma Bachna Wade. And that Shaykh was a Shaykh who used to do the remembrance of Allah at night after Isha prayers. And he said that I would do the zikr of Allah and people would gather around me, my students, they would also remember Allah. And some of them would leave after an hour, some of them would leave after 2 hours. And some of them would stay back for another hour. But eventually, all of them would leave. So the Shaykh would spend a few hours doing the zikr of Allah. But then, after everybody would leave, the Shaykh would not go to sleep. He said, then I would start my salat, my tahajjud prayers. So the Mashayikh who realized the importance of zikr, that it is this zikr which is going to make this life also very contented. And it is going to make the hereafter also very successful. The only thing, the main thing, the main secret behind the success of this world and the akhirah is the zikr of Allah. So it is an open secret. What we tend to do is, we say, oh, once I'm done with all my work, once I'm done with my office, once I'm done with my homework, once I'm done with all the things that I need to do, my shopping, this and that, then if I have time, I'll sit down and do zikr. And this is, what would you say? This is the wrong way of thinking, actually. The right way of thinking is what the Messenger ﷺ has told us. There's a hadith al-Qudsi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, oh my servant, you take some time out for my remembrance, and I will help you in the things of this world that you do. And oh my servant, if you don't do this, if you flip this, that you say that now I'll finish up all the things that I have to do of this world, and Allah says that I will not give you a chance to do the remembrance. If the zikr is last on your list of priorities, then this honor should not be given to you. So sometimes when we say, oh, I didn't get time, I was busy with children, I was busy at work, I was busy with homework, I was busy with business, That is why I was not able to do the zikr of Allah. This is how we think. But the reality is that Allah did not give us a chance, did not give us the honor of remembering Him. So that is why the amount of zikr the Mashayikh have done. And the amount of zikr the Mashayikh have done is because they realize that the success of this world and the Akhirah lies in the remembrance of Allah. It is such a beautiful thing that some of the Mashayikh have said that it is a magical thing. Why is it magical? Because the Messenger ﷺ said, Zikrullahi shifa'ul qulub. The remembrance of Allah is a cure for the heart. What it means is that if somebody is ready to commit the biggest of sins, and you would have seen somebody, that all of us have seen people like this, that here there's a man who's ready to commit the biggest of sins, he does all sorts of sins, all sorts of sins. And somehow Allah gives him guidance, and he starts going in the company of Mashayikh, or he starts going to the masjid, he starts reading the Quran, he starts doing the salat. Now that same person says that, no, I cannot do this wrong thing. Nobody is forcing him not to do any of these wrong things, but he's not doing it himself. Why? Why is he not doing all these sins that he was doing already before? Zikr of Allah has changed his heart. So that is why some of the Mashayikh have said that it is a magical thing, this remembrance of Allah. So there's a very famous story that Mashayikh tell us of this princess. And she fell in love with this man who used to work in the, palace of the king. Now he's a very poor young man. And here the princess fell in love with that young man. That young man also fell in love with the princess. And they wanted to meet each other. And it was very difficult for them to meet with each other because it was the old times. It was not the social media times that we are living in now, right? There was no WhatsApp that come meet me at such and such a time. The old times. And here there was this princess, the daughter of the king. She wanted to meet with this poor guy working in the palace. So now it took them many months to figure out how we can meet once at least. Finally, they were able to, after months and months of, working around it and working, doing things, and finally they got to meet. So when they met, the princess told this young man that I have fallen in love with you. The young man also said that, yes, I also love you. Then he saw that the princess was crying. So he asked, why are you crying? And she said, this is our first meeting, but I am afraid this is our last meeting. And he said, why? He said, because I am the princess. You are a poor guy working in the palace. There's no way we can meet again. So then he also felt very sad. So after a little while, she said, well, there's one way that both of us can meet. And he said, okay, what is that? He said, my father, the king, he likes, pious people. He likes, the Ahlullah. He likes the awliya of Allah. So if you become a wali of Allah, then, there's green signal for both of us to meet. I can tell my father, I have to go to the Shaykh and ask him to make dua for me. My father will never say no, because he loves mashayikh, and he loves people of Allah, and he loves the awliya of Allah. So he said, okay, fine, then how do I become the wali of Allah? She said, I don't know that. I know this much, the wali of Allah is always doing the remembrance of Allah. So if you go outside of the palace and you go in a room, far away from us, and just start remembering Allah. Just say Allahu, Allahu, Allahu all the time. Then it'll become, everybody will start saying that this is a wali of Allah. And he was so crazy about her, he left the palace. And he went to this one room, far away from the palace. And he would do this remembrance of Allah the whole day. The whole day he would just say, Allahu, 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 Allah. Finally, people started knowing about him. People around the area, they said, oh, this is a very big Shaykh who's here, who does nothing except for the remembrance of Allah. So people started coming and asked him to make dua for them. And he became popular. He started becoming popular, so much so that the popularity reached one of the ministers of the king. And when he found out, he went up to the king. He said, he went to the king and he said, oh my lord, we have one guy, one wali of Allah in our country, who's such a big shaykh who does nothing except for the remembrance of Allah. And the king was so happy. He said, oh, we have such a person in this country of ours who does nothing except for the remembrance of Allah. And the minister said, yes. He said, okay, fine, then I need to go and meet with this shaykh. And the king left his palace and went in that small room to meet with this person. And when he went inside that small room, this man, this young man, he was doing the remembrance of Allah. Allahu, Allah, Allah, Allah. He didn't even get up for the king. The king was so shocked that look at him. I came inside of his room and even my coming did not stop him from remembering Allah. What a big shaykh this man is. He is the true shaykh. This is what the king thought. So the king sat with a lot of adab in front of this young man. And the king asked him to make dua for him. And the king showed a lot of love to him. And then the king took permission from him that I need to go back to my palace. Would you give me permission? And he gave the permission. You can go back to your palace. So now the king, when he went back to his palace, he was so happy. So that night when they had dinner, the king said to the whole family that today I'm very happy. We have a person in our country, a wali of Allah, a shaykh who does nothing except for the remembrance of Allah. So I think we are all very lucky we have such a personality among us. Now, as soon as the daughter found out, then that my father is now full of love for this new wali of Allah, she immediately said, oh my dear father, I need to go and meet this shaykh. I have lots of du'as that I have to ask him to make for me. And the father immediately said, yes, my dear daughter, you must go to him and ask him to make dua for you and ask him to make dua for me and for our family and for our country. She said, what a success that I've gotten here. My plan is now completely successful. She woke up the next day and she changed clothes and she, dressed up and all of that. Then she went to the small room where he used to do the zikr of Allah. So she entered the room and she saw this young man that she fell in love with. He was sitting on the musalla doing the zikr of Allah. Allah, Allah, Allah. And as soon as she entered, she said, you know what? Now you can stop. I am here. And he would not stop. He went on and on. Allahu, 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 Allah. She said, oh, do you not remember? This was my idea. That you would do this Allahu all the time. And people will think that you are the wali of Allah. And then this is how we'll get to meet each other. And here he was. He did not even stop. He did not even stop after listening to all of these words. He went on and on. Allahu, 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 Allah. She was like shocked. What is he up to? And after all, she was the princess. She got a little upset. In a little while, she said, do you not want to meet me or do you want to meet me? It is after months and months of hard work that we have come to this day where we can meet each other. Do you not want to meet me? She got upset. At that point, this young man answered that the one who I am remembering, I don't want to disobey him. You should leave. I don't want to even look at you. And she laughed. That is why the Mashayikh have said that the zikr of Allah is a magical thing. It changes the heart. It is a cure for the heart. The heart will not be ready to commit any sin. For a person who does this zikr regularly, does this zikr abundantly. That is why the one who does zikr abundantly, Allah has promised him, فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Allah promises success for the one who does the zikr of Allah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also give us the tawfiq to remember Him abundantly and remember Him all time, so that we can also be among the successful ones. We will stop here and I'll do the translation one more time, and then inshallah we'll make a short dua. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ulaika ala hudam min rabbihim. It is those who are on guidance given by their Lord. Wa ulaika humul muflihun. And these are the ones who are successful. I will stop here and we'll make a short dua, inshallah, and then we'll do our Isha prayers. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen. Allahumma a'inna ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-huda wa al-tuqa wal-afafa wal-ghina. Allahumma inna nas'aluka hubbak wa hubba man yuhibbuk wa hubba amal alladhi yuqarribuni ala hubbak. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala habibihi Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Jazakumullah. And a very warm welcome to all of our friends who are online with us. I had planned that today I will, just have a talk with the guys who are on our Zoom. So my warmest of welcomes to Abdul Quddus Sahab and Alladinu Ansari Sahab and our friend from Ghana, Awudu Mubarak and Jibran Javed Sahab and Musdina Hashim. And then we have, I don't know what the name is, SAK1. Then we have S and John, he's the only one. No, he's one of the two guys who are present both on Zoom and both online, on site as well. And then we have Khalilur Rahman. So very warm welcome to all of you, inshallah. And this friendship is going to grow, inshallah.